Hello, good day. How are you today? You're good, right? Okay. Are you ready for today's lesson? You are? That is good. Today in quantitative reasoning, we are going to be looking at fractions. Okay? Our topic for today in quantitative reasoning, we are going to be looking at fractions. So are we ready for the lesson? In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at recognizing and naming fractions, equivalent fractions, and comparing and ordering fractions with common denominators. Okay, so first we're going to be looking at recognizing and naming fractions. So we know fractions are part of a whole, right? We remember fractions represent a part of a whole, right? We remember that. So we know that these are fractions, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4. Now we're going to be looking at what these are called, okay? 1 over 2 is called half. 1 over 2 is called half, okay? This is known as half. Then when you see 1 over 3, it is called 1/3. 1 over 3 is called 1/3. 1 over 4 is called 1/4. 1 over 5 is called 1/5. 1 over 6 is called 1/6. 1 over 7 is called 1/7. Okay? This is called half. This is called 1/3. This is called 1/4. This is called 1/5. This is called 1/6. And this is called 1/7. Okay? Do you understand? These are their names. I'm sure I've also seen fractions like this. 1 over 8. 1 over 8 is called 1/8. We have seen 1 over 9. It is called 1/9. 1 over 10 is called 1/10. Okay, so it keeps on going. Do you understand? Now, when you see a fraction that has 2 over 3, what is this called? This is called 2/3. Okay? And when you see 2 over 5, it is called 2/5. And when you see 3 over 10, it is called 3/10. If you see 4 over 10, it's called 4/10. Okay? So it keeps on going like that. Do you understand? If you see 5 over 10 is called 5/10. These names indicate the number of equal parts the whole is divided into. Okay? If you see 3 over 5, it is called 3/5. Do you understand how it's going? If you see, let's say 1 over 12, it is called 1/12. If you see 2 over 12, it is called 2/12. Do you understand? Okay, good. So now we are going to be looking at equivalent fractions. We have looked at naming fractions, right? So if we see some fractions, even if we didn't mention them in these categories we talked about today, you should be able to mention them, right? You should be able to name them. So what are equivalent fractions? Equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value but may look different. Okay? Do you understand that? Let's say this is the original fraction. This is a fraction. This is 3 over 4, right? And this is called 3/4, right? And the equivalent fraction we have 6 over 8. This is called what? 6/8, right? This value 3 over 4 is the same thing, is equivalent to this. They have different numbers, but they are the same thing, okay? That is what this means. And how do you find equivalent fractions? You multiply or divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, okay? Whatever you're doing to the numerator, you do it to the denominator also. That is what we mean. You know that the up is the numerator and the down is the denominator. Whatever you do to the up, you do it to the down, okay? If you are multiplying the up, you multiply the down with also the same number. If you are dividing the up, you divide it down with also the same number, okay? Do you understand? So we said 3 over 4 is the same, is equivalent to 6 over 8. How did we do that? How did we get this equivalent fraction? We used 2 to multiply the numerator and also used 2 to multiply the denominator. So 3 times 2 is going to give us 6 and 4 times 2 is going to give us 8. So this is the same as these, but they have different numbers. They look different, right? Do you understand? Now, if you want to make this to the lowest form, if you divide, use 2 to divide here, you have 3. Use 2 to divide 8, you have 4, right? So it's still the same thing. It's just this is higher, okay? They mean the same thing. Let's look at another one. We have 2 over 5, which is what? 2/5. Then we have here 8 over 20. When this is simplified, it is also seen as 2/5, okay? So now, how did we get this? We multiply the numerator by 4 and multiply the denominator by 4, okay? So 2 over 5 is equals to 2 times 4 will give you 8 and 5 times 4 will give you 20. So this is still the same thing as this. If you simplify this, it's going to give you 2 over 5, okay? Do you understand? 4 into 8 is what? Is 2, right? And 4 into 5 is, 4 into 20 is 5. So you can see how it's related. So we now know equivalent fractions, right? Equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value but look different. You can see they have the same value but they look different, okay? They mean the same thing. Do you understand? Good. So now we're going to be looking at comparing fractions with common denominator. We know the denominator are the lower numbers, right? So now we're going to be looking at comparing fractions with common denominators. Okay, so are we ready? When fractions have the same denominator, which is the lower numbers are the same, you can compare their numerator. Okay, the fraction with the larger numerator is greater. That is what it means. And we're going to be using the greater than sign and the less than sign to compare these fractions. We have 3 over 7 and 2 over 7. Yet the denominators are the same, right? So we have to compare the numerator 3 and 2. 3 and 2, which one is greater? 3 is greater than 2, right? So 3 over 7 is greater than 2 over 7, okay? If you are looking for the one that is lesser, is 2 is over 7 is less than 3 over 7, okay? You know 3 is greater, so 3 is over 7 is greater than 2 over 7. Do you understand? 3 is greater than 2, so 3 is greater than 2, okay? So when the denominators are the same, you compare the numerators, okay? Now let's look at another example. 3 over 8 and 4 over 8. The denominators are the same, so we are going to compare the numerators. 3 and 4, which is greater and which is lesser? Is 3 greater than 4 or 4 is greater than 3? 4 is greater than 3, right? So it's 4 over 8 is greater than 3 over 8. If you're looking for the one that is lesser, is 3 over 8 is lesser than 4 over 8, okay? Do you understand that? So we can now compare fractions with common denominators, right? Good. Now we are going to be looking at othering fractions with common denominators. That is arranging fractions with common denominators with ascending and descending order, okay? So we have here 5 over 6, 1 over 6, and 2 over 6. Now the denominators are the same, right? 6, 6, 6, 6. So we are going to be looking at the numerators, okay? We are going to order them based on numerators. So 5, 1, 2. Let's arrange this in ascending order. So which comes first? 1, right? After 1, 2, and after 2, 5. So 1 over 6 comes first, then 2 over 6, and last 5 over 6, okay? So we have 1 over 6, 2 over 6, 5 over 6. What order of arrangement is this? Ascending, right? From the smallest to the biggest using the numerators, okay? The denominators are the same, so we use the numerators. Do you understand? Now let's look at another example. We have 4 over 9, 7 over 9, and 5 over 9. So what are the arrangements? We're going to be arranging this in descending order, okay? The denominators are the same, so we're going to be looking at the numerators. We have 4, 7, 5. In descending order is from the biggest to the smallest, right? So which number is the biggest here? 7. And after 7 is 5, and last is 4, right? So it's 7 over 9, 5 over 9, and 4 over 9, okay? So we have 7 over 9, 5 over 9, and 4 over 9. The denominators are the same, so we use the numerators to arrange them in descending order, okay? Do you understand? If this was to be arranged in ascending order, it would be 4 over 9, 5 over 9, and 7 over 9, right? And if this was to be arranged in descending order, it would be 5 over 6, 2 over 6, and 1 over 6. So if the denominators are the same, you use the numerators, okay? Do you understand? Good. So today's lesson on fractions, we understood everything we talked about. We looked at naming fractions, right? So we'll be able to name all these fractions we are seeing. We also looked at equivalent fractions. We looked at comparing fractions with common denominators, and lastly, othering fractions with common denominators. So now we are going to be looking at our assignment. I'm sure we're going to be able to do our assignment, right? It's easy. Okay, that is good.